There. Welcome in, everybody. Monday morning
What's
here.
up, everybody? Hello to everybody on the Retro Tech channel. It's not my YouTube channel, so I'm going to make sure to swear every sentence. Kidding.
Oh man, it's funny you should mention that because I have like my just a random story here to start off. I was at a traveling this weekend, and my son, he's 12, and he went home with his cousins who are also 12 and 15, and I mean they were getting busted saying like F-bombs and stuff by me, the grandparents, get in so much trouble. And I started to think I'm probably a bad example already for these
That's pretty
kids.
funny.
So anyway, hey everybody, thank you for coming in this morning. I see a lot of people in the chat. We're gonna give you some shout outs here in a second. But before we do that, if you please could do us all a solid favor and hit the like button for us, just like
Yep.
Bob is
And
demonstrating on the
speaking of
power
hitting
button.
buttons, I'm going to power on this PVM because it's going to take a while to get a signal, so we could do our intros and stuff while we wait,
Good idea.
because that's what we're trying to fix here today.
Yeah. So yeah, do all that great stuff. You know how the algorithm is. Just help us out with a like. This is a special episode of The Bunker, the live show that happens Mondays and Thursdays at this time slot. And thank you all again for showing up. Bob is here with me, and Bob has a PVM here. This is a 14L5, and to give you a little bit of backstory on this particular 1405, this is one that I actually had for about a year in my shop. And then I tried to do a couple of repairs that were documented. I called Save on Pat, and we just couldn't figure out what was going on. It kept auto shutting off. But we narrowed it down to being a problem on the main board. And so, Bob, is it just like going right now, and it's still just like it stays dark like that?
It stays dark for a while, and
Okay.
then after it comes up, eventually, you'll get a signal, but then it takes even longer for it to look right, and it never looks right. And I think part of that's because we removed the scuffed up tint from this. However, on my A20, I also removed the tint from that, and just by messing with the brightness and contrast, it looks perfect. So I don't know if the 14L5s use a different type of tint that it actually requires to look right, but we're definitely going to be checking that out on the stream.
Okay. So yeah, so this one was one we tried to fix before. The neck board on this one has been serviced, and then what you see also there on the screen next to the CRT is the actual deflection package or card, and that card has also been serviced. But what Bob had was an issue somewhere on the main board that we couldn't get. I couldn't pinpoint, and we couldn't get it to stop shutting itself off. So Bob found some spare parts, and we installed the spare deflection board first on the last stream he had. I mean, it was 3 to 5 months ago, I want to say, and on his channel. And then that didn't solve the issue. So we went and we installed, if you were lucky enough to be at the Bob's and Tito's booth at Retro World Expo this year, you got to see us basically go in and swap out the main board from the parts bin he had on this 1405. And when we did, at first I didn't think it was working right because it just did what Bob has got going on right now, where it kind of sat here for a while. And we figured maybe the board just hadn't had any juice or electricity thrown in it in a while, because after a while it just came up and looked good. Now, I will admit, Bob, we were using, if you remember, we were using S-Video to test things at the site. Right. So I don't know if that also is contributing to like the color looking different for the RGB, because we didn't actually get to test that. So that's a possibility. But anyway, we finally got it. It did take like 15 minutes, and it was looking really good, and we just left it running so people could see it for a while. And then that was the last we'd heard of it. Bob said it's still got the issues going where we could see. So the first thing we're going to do is let it come up and take a look. I think it's starting to show some signs of maybe warming up.
Just now, yeah.
So
as you guys could all see, when I had powered it on, I'd even hit the menu button just to get the menu overlay, and that wasn't even working. So it's more than just More than just. All right, so we're getting a signal now.
All right, there it is. So there you see that alone took. Well, you saw it live. It's been 5 minutes on the show, so that took 5 minutes for just a signal to show up. That's not generally normal for PVMs to take that long. Like
a minute.
Yeah, like 30 seconds to a minute is pretty normal, but there's definitely something, and it still is probably going to take a little bit longer for the colors to come up and look semi whatever.
It does look awesome on this though.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely, the thing is, it's working. I'm just wondering if this is an issue. To me, I'm going to be honest with you, Bob, I'm afraid it's more of an issue with like the board, that's the main board, that's going to have to be that's going to have to probably be recapped like the other one was that didn't work when we did it. Oof. It's probably got but hopefully not, because most of those issues that would be from that warm-up, I would believe, would be in that main block. But we'll try, because this one's already been recapped and it's better anyway. So we'll try to open her up and do that. Otherwise, you just have to, I think we'll have to wait till like and do the recap on the main board next year's Retro World.
Yeah, live. I mean, so this monitor, my goal for this one is to sit it next to my oscilloscope and to use it to test everything, because it's a multi-format monitor. So if we get it mint, that would be amazing. But if we don't, as long as it's still usable, I can still use it for all the things that I need to use it for. So
yeah.
Remove these.
Yeah, Bob's just going to disassemble this thing. And again, thank you, everybody. If you haven't already and you're able to, just remember to hit the like on there for us. Oh, man. Grail's Hobbies, thank you so much. Huge super chat here, $50. Always good to see you, Steve, and great to see you helping Bob not get some mains voltage to the hand. LL. Good luck with it. Yeah, thank you, man.
Chat. That is always appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to hang out and do this. I thought it would be fun. I had traveled all weekend. Bob asked if we could do this. I thought, hey, if I could get this situated to do this show in the normal time slot, I really wanted to, because that was my goal, to kind of keep something going on a normal time frame. All right, while Bob's doing that, I'm going to give some shout outs to people in the chat. Hey, to Belmont, thank you for always showing up. Waiting for concrete to pull up. That's awesome. Truck's running a little late, I guess. Let's go back. We got Zero Sleep here. Robert Crease. Andre, thank you for showing up. Dr. Claw, Dan B, Brian Harmon, Stefan C, Snuffer Stuffer, Dan B, Robert Kettler. Sorry if I said that wrong. Good morning to everybody. Snuffer Stuffer.
I'm pretty positive you said that wrong.
Yeah, I always say it wrong. At least, I mean, there's been some times where I've said some really bad stuff where it's like, we've gotten it way wrong. I even have an oversized monitor, but my vision, I just can't read those little letters. Daryl Smith, good to see you. Ariel Aces, self-elected. Hey, everybody. Dan B, thank you for the next super chat. I really appreciate it, guys. Steve, have you thought of putting a list of trusted CRT repairs on your Patreon? Well, I could give you the list here. There's not that many like that I actually fully trust. It's like, you got Save on Pat if you're out west, and Andy King if you're out west. If you're in the center of the country, you can get a hold of Keith Rainey. And then there's myself. And then there's some other people that I do know that are training. So I think that's a good idea, though. I would like to be able to have more people. But also, it's kind of one of those things where it's hard to really go out. You know how it is, Bob. It's hard to go out and always give people a recommendation unless you really know them. No offense to anybody, but they could kind of like fly off the deep end. I made it a policy
to never have lists on the site anymore, because that caused more trouble than anything else. And if you want to piss people off faster than... There's only two ways that you could piss people off instantly. Even worse than religion and politics is you talk about money, or you put somebody on a list. And then immediately everybody who's not on the list feels like you're directly insulting them personally. And then the people on the list get overwhelmed with work. So their work, they either have to start turning people away or their work falters. And now people are pissed at me, including the people on the list.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, it's a lose-lose
Unfortunately,
for
yeah,
everybody.
it's not really great. I mean, like I said, that's really why I know those guys. They really are committed, and if they're willing to work on something for you, you can get them to. Um, Bob's got the shell off, and hey to
Now, Steve,
Gory.
could you explain for a bit why I'm not discharging this?
Sure.
Not only for the work that I'm doing, but this particular monitor right here.
Right. So just for some safety discussion, actually, that was a good thing. I've been asking. I get a lot of requests for stuff on safety, so we'll warm it up here, but you're gonna we'll take the safety to an extreme in an upcoming episode of this live show or something, because I really need to have some updated stuff. It's been like 5 years. Anyway, Bob does not need to discharge this particular PVM because a lot of this stuff is isolated. So the high voltage is actually completely isolated away from the board he's removing. That's all contained within that tube, that high voltage cap, and that anode cable down into the flyback transformer. But the second thing is these PVMs, they have bleeder resistors built into them specifically. So they generally, 99% of the time are going to self-discharge. I think I've seen one not self-discharge. It wasn't an L5. It was a 20M2. That has happened once out of the 8 years I've worked on PVMs. But so it's pretty much like 99.5% of the time it won't. But he doesn't even have to fool with that because that's all isolated, and this card is on the outside, so the high voltage would not be stored anywhere near this. Now, the bad thing is the part that Bob's trying to remove this thing from is pretty flimsy, and that whole card holder and arm bracket is known to break. And this may be something we need to eventually talk to. I mean, I think somebody already has done the design files for a print file for it. I'm just not talented enough to print them.
Now, these connectors on the side, nothing special with these. I could just yank them off because...
Yeah, as long as it's not the card, which is fine. You're not messing with that middle card. You're just going to untwist the black connector that's holding the cable bundles there. You'll want to be careful with the ground cables too, because they can be tricky. You got to kind of slip the screwdriver or something in there and slip them out to release them.
Okay.
The other ones, now it looks like you got most of them out. Yeah.
So, just to reiterate, even though Steve and I know that this is probably not going to fix the issue, this is already recapped, so why not?
Right, that's a better one. Yeah, Cole is stored.
It's not going to take very long. We're going to be able to get to the second CRT very quickly. So it's one of these, why wouldn't we?
Well, let's try it. Maybe we'll get lucky. Yeah, Belmont, Cole is snoring. Cole had to stay at the dog borders, and he was wild when I went and got him this morning, so I had to take him on a long walk, and now he's passed out over here snoring like an old man. Gory, you're asking about the 8041Q that has a black and white image problem. You can go look up. I've done quite a few videos and live streams about how to fix that, and I believe I may have even done a write-up for Retro RGB. So if you go to retrorgb.com and search for RetroTech, you will get a list of the articles I've written, and I believe one of them in there is directly about how to repair that issue, because it's an issue with potentiometers that you have to replace on one of the cards. And the reason it's happening is the more it heats up, it's either the bad solder at that point, but eventually those potentiometers are going to go bad. Okay, we got enough. Stefan C, thank you for the super chat. Would you say it's expected for the rubber on the anode cap or anode wire to degrade over time? You've had a consumer set where it was leaking high voltage. Yeah, that can happen. And it's a reason that, and this is something that'll be more covered in that future safety episode. but you want to do an initial inspection of this if you don't know anything about the CRT. Before you really do anything, you would open it up and look at it. And even before touching it, check out the quality of it. Is it something that you think, well, maybe there is a chance? So you take that extra precaution to set up and do an extra safe discharge procedure, like one of your safest ones where you're just isolating everything, putting your hand behind there, sliding that under there and discharging it fully correctly. And then you can take it apart and further inspect it and try to, fix it from that point on. All right, man. Super chats are rolling in, guys. I really appreciate all this. Robert.
Yeah, super chats are always really, really appreciated. It's I always say it. I always sound cheesy and like I'm full of shit, but it is stuff like that that really does keep channels like Steve and I's going. So thank you all. Keep those coming. Help out your man Steve.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. This is probably the most I've ever gotten on a stream. I know that. Just wanted to say thank you.
I also would just add, if you're working on a CRT for one of the first times, treat it as if your anode cap is cracked. Treat it as if your discharge resistor is broken, because there's zero side effects other than it might take a little bit longer and you might be a little more cautious. Like, it's not, you're not going to do any harm by being a little more cautious with the discharge, whereas you could potentially do harm if you don't discharge it right at all. And then once you get to Steve level of expertise, you could just basically look at it and know, oh, this one's going to be dangerous. Oh, this one probably isn't. Let me do it this way. Let me do it that way.
Right. And Bob's absolutely correct. There's no really like rhyme or reason to it sometimes. You guys have seen on the channel where I worked on that Toshiba, which was in the late 2000s, and it had the worst zap I've ever seen. And so you've got to always be prepared for that kind of thing. And like with that television, I proceeded with a lot of caution ahead of time because I'd never worked on one and I thought it might be like that. Especially if you're working on a CRT, there's no harm in taking extreme time you really should take your time on anything to really learn it properly. The CRT should be like the graduate level. You need some pre-education before you start working on CRTs. Don't just open up a CRT and try to mess around in it usually. All right, let me get to Robert. Just want to say thank you to you both of you, for continuing to educate, inspire people, but especially for promoting a fun and non-toxic community. Oh, well, thanks, Robert. I never really thought of it like too much like that, but we're not, we're in the business to try to like look at old electronics, video games, and that we try to have fun. But as Bob knows, even in this environment, not everything's perfect. We try not to go to those places though.
Yeah, and when we do, we try to do it with our friends, like that fucking loser, Zez.
Yeah,
never be on his podcast.
What the hell, man? Zez has like disappeared. He God, the bastard. This is what he did to me. I told him, I was like, he's like, what's been going on? I was like, man, I've really been like trying to work out more every day. And he's like, oh, well, let's do push-ups and hold each other accountable. And I'm like, damn it, you just added like additional workouts I wasn't doing to my already ridiculous like working out for the first time and trying to do that. So
yeah, if you ever hear Steve or I talk horrible shit about somebody, they're our friend.
Yeah, that's the truth. We don't
out of each other.
Like, we're all just joking on each other. It's not even even in my last stupid main video, I goofed on the RetroTink by strapping a 2X to a VR headset.
I think I saw that.
And I was just like, oh, I'm just going to be silly for 5 seconds.
I also loved your absolutely horrible impression of Martin. what somebody from Belgium sounds like. That cracked me up.
Oh, I think it's gonna be like, here's the thing. I don't know, man. Like, I was working putting some stuff together for 8-Bit Esquire because he's doing another long episode about PVMs, and he was showing me some of the clips he's been working on, and I just don't even know, man, where he's getting this stuff. It's so out there and crazy, like these little segments. Oh, all right. So you sure you got everything plugged in there all the way? Good to go?
No, but I'm pretty sure. I'm like pretty sure is where I'm at right now. So let me Let me put a couple of bolts back in this thing just so that nothing shifts around.
Okay.
Because that's the other thing too. I know it's bad luck. It's bad modder's luck to put your case on before you power it up and test it. But knowing my luck, I'm going to trip and fall on this HDMI cable right onto the anode cup, which would be cracked because that's my luck. And y'all get to watch me electrocute myself and shit myself live on stream. So I'd like to avoid that today.
Yeah.
Would be funny
good.
though. The super chats would come rolling in.
All right. Yeah. So just gonna get in here and test this thing for a second.
There is
And
only
see.
one flaw in our plan here today.
Okay.
If we power this sucker on and it works perfectly, how do we know it's not because we charged up the caps when we just powered it on at the beginning of the stream? So I might not actually know for sure until tomorrow.
That's true. It's very true. So that's what we'll have to do. We'll kind of have to look at, or maybe after we look at the other one, it'll cool down. But you're probably right, because it hasn't.
Whatever. It's still fun. Any chance people get to see the inside of a multi-format BVM, it's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, that's what I was. I really think I was blown away with how many people came up at the booth and were just really interested in seeing inside those CRTs. Yeah. And then you were right though, because we had it running for a minute and there was no shell on it. These kids walked up, and then Bob was like, "I put this away," so some kid doesn't touch it and zap himself. It would have been awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys. So this one, it just has a really slow warm up time, like unusually long. It took 5 minutes for warm up, and that's it. Now before this, there's another main board which he sent here to me, but it has problems, so we can't figure that one out. Oh, he slid it right off the table. And thanks everybody for joining us today. This has been so much fun just to get started here. I got home from my trip late last night, and I had a flat tire on my car that was left here. And I ran over a nail when I got out of town, or before I left town somehow. But thankfully I was just able to fill it up and ride around. It's just slowly leaking, but I'm gonna have to go get that fixed.
I had to change a tire on the side of the Cross Bronx Expressway.
Oh my gosh.
My wife's inside the car. I pulled off in a spot where there was a lot of extra room. She's freaking out because, she's the only time she's had that happen, she's called AAA. And me, the opposite. Like, I probably changed 20 tires on the side of the road in my life, if not more. So for me, it's just like, God, good thing, gonna get my hands dirty to wash the steering wheel when I get home because I got tire on it now and shit. But I didn't have any problems with the safety factor of it. I was just like, nah, we're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, powering it on. I heard it, I heard the typical
normal.
bong, so
normal startup looks like we got going on the screen. So we'll see here if it just first? Are you seeing anything?
No.
Okay, so it might be still going through that cycle. We'll see. Dan B, you had a flat yesterday too. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes those things happen, in groups. That's funny. I was listening to somebody who said it like a weird statistic is if you get 15 random people in a room together, there's a 50% chance 2 of them have the same birthday. So
that's pretty funny.
There's a weird fact for you. Hey, Koala. Yeah, Plate Fork has only seen it on arcade tubes. It can be very common for arcades to have bad flybacks and bad flyback caps and all that stuff. And thank goodness you could still relatively go in easily and get those anode cap replacements for the majority of those old sets. It looks like it's still taking the warm-up time, so that's at least good. It didn't good and bad.
Yeah. Eric, Test Nomad. Yeah, this is by far my most used console, even though I don't know if you could see it, but the middle of the screen's all messed up. It's still the one I use the most for this exact reason. I got Greg's battery pack on the back. I think that you might have a second, more fancy revision coming out soon. I think he's still going to be selling these, but the other one might be a little more expensive, but that's pretty awesome. I'm actually waiting for Oleg to release his newer board for this. And I'm waiting for two reasons. One, because I want to have an original Nomad screen that actually works, just to have it, because his board's a no-cut mod. So I'll buy that off of somebody who's upgraded, but I also want his mod on it so I could actually see the screen.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I was like, that
I'm
screen looks
starting to
such a
see the Smega
there
logo
it
come
comes up. Yep, I see it.
Okay, well,
That one, I mean, it
goes
didn't
down
take
to-
as long. It probably took 3 minutes, but it's definitely what I would think. It's still that same issue. So yeah, until I would, I mean, you could definitely go in and adjust the colors. I don't know. Like, here's what I mean. If you want to, if you can handle using it the way it is for till next Retro World Expo, we could literally do that.
Absolutely could.
We could do that kit at the booth again, and heck, we could even try like bringing in and doing a color probe calibration on it after that.
Yeah.
And because that's
this
something.
monitor is going to be a test monitor for me, and then if we get it mint, I might actually use it as a monitor, or I guess sell it, but probably not sell it, to be honest with you. This is probably just going to be one of those monitors I keep forever. Because, I mean, I do always prefer the bigger 20 inches, but, you know, I could pick this one up over my head, hung over with no sleep, and not even blink an eye, whereas those 20 inches, some days, my old back just doesn't really feel like budging when I go to pick it up. So it is very handy to have a smaller CRT around for testing, even if you use other stuff. And yes, I know I could just get a VGA CRT monitor and use my 8-inch PVM and still have all of the multifunction use for it, but the whole purpose of this was to have something. Actually, I could even just show y'all. Let me we'll put it up together so you can see the full setup of it.
Oh, sweet.
Sorry, I'm cranking the stand up here.
Nice.
All right, so I'm going to pull this down so I have more room to slide it in, and we'll get this sucker up on the shelf and go from there. But yeah, the purpose of this is to have it in a spot like that. So I don't have any issue just letting it warm up and use it, and then if someday we could repair it, now I have a really awesome monitor that I could bring places if I needed to.
Well, that looks like it's gonna fit just right in there.
The funny thing is I got to get it under this lip here. You're probably just seeing the back of my giant head and not the lip or anything, but we'll try and see if I can wiggle it in to show you, because it was in here a minute ago. So,
Ariel, I think we're all old now, man. I don't know. I got, like I said, I don't like lifting a bunch of CRTs either.
there we go.
There you go.
It's just getting the front and rear feet in.
Well, yeah, you
Once
got
I
the
pop
feet
that over
too.
the front bit, then everything fits absolutely perfect. Let me slide that cardboard over.
A good 1405 is like the best one to use for this purpose, though, because it's way more reliable than that, and it doesn't have the sync issues that the BVMs do.
No, not that the D9H.
Yeah,
I love that monitor and hate that monitor equally.
yeah, right. It's kind of a strange enigma.
Yeah. All right, so I'll leave this here. I can put this back. I will just mail you that other board. I'm sure you could probably recap it and put it in a different PVM at some point.
All right. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's fine. Or just hold on to it till next time. Doesn't matter. There, that'd be great.
Workstation.
Nice.
Now let's drop you all back down. Sorry for the cranking. And now let's take a look.
That's cool.
The other one.
All right. All right. Yeah. So I'll give you a little backstory on this one. This one I have done a couple videos on a long time ago. This one did survive a house fire, believe it or not. It's got the melted handprints in the top, which I don't really understand. It's just crazy how that melted like that, but it did. I did a video painting it, RGB modding it, fixing the RGB mod, and then other things. I can't even remember how many times I did. I think that a bunch of rats got into it at one point. I had to clean them
thanks,
all
Steve.
out. Oh, I cleaned it out at least. So it's not. So
Is
what's
that
going
why I'm sick
on?
this whole time? I'm sticking
Oh
my
yeah.
face in, breathing in ratchet. No, I'm kidding.
No, that was one where I actually went out and like hosed out the whole CRT and used all kinds of cleaning chemicals on the back and inside. That was the point of that video, is that they had gotten into it. All right, let's see. So is it missing a color or something?
Didn't you have the buttons over here? That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I will.
Let's see here. There's standard. All right. Looks yellow. All right, now.
No. Let me.
Hang on. Got to be on the input. Which I painted over all the button controls.
Very far down on this. That would have sucked if it just blared in my ears. I didn't even know why. No, it's antenna 2. Video. Here we go. So, notice the problem with this image?
I mean, it just looks bright.
Blue.
It's only blue?
Very blue.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, something happened, huh?
So let me, and this was working great. And the only thing I do is pick it up over my head and put it on the tables. And I'm generally pretty,
yeah, definitely.
I don't bounce it around, let's just say.
We'll have to see. Something hopefully. Oh, I can't. All I see is, like you say, is just looks like blue. No other color? The blue man.
So I see some yellow, I see some blue, I see some reds in it, but it. Let me turn down. All right, so let me adjust the camera here so you all could.
Okay, I do see some now. Yeah. Wow. It looks extremely bright.
See. Let me put that down.
Wow. I see a red and blue.
Yeah, so that is exactly what I'm seeing in person. That very weird washed out issue.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to open it up.
So I think the first thing we should probably try, and I'm going to leave this dim. I know this is probably going to be annoying for people watching, but at least you'll be able to see the screen, and I'll make it brighter once we go back to actual testing. I think what I should do next is try composite video, right?
Sure, yeah.
Oh,
I can't remember.
The metal sticks out. That's a good way to stab yourself in the hand. Let me throw this out and get another one.
Well, so this one was like fully serviced and stuff. Wags Mike, he asked about turning down the G2. I don't think the G2 would randomly shoot up like that. More than likely, some soldering thing on the RGB connector popped off or something. Maybe.
My guess is it's something super simple, and as soon as we open the back, we're gonna go, oh, that's it. But
let's hope.
Wouldn't we have more fun doing that on stream? So that's why.
Yeah, let's try this composite. See, composite looks perfect. Right?
Perfect. So you know what's funny is I usually say composite on a CRT is excellent. This TV's composite sucks. And the first time I powered this on stream, I was making fun of Steve because I hadn't seen it working yet. I was like, oh, good job, Steve. You gave me a fucked up monitor. But as soon as we turned it into RGB mode, it looked absolutely beautiful. That stream, like you could hear my reaction on stream. I was laughing hard, like, wow, what a difference. But yeah, this is one of the rare moments. Like my 20-inch Sony and 20-inch Panasonic look really great with composite. And in fact, the Sony was the one I was showing on stream on Saturday with the Master System stuff, whereas this one, yeah, pretty bad.
That looks like I could see the blur. I could see the blur so bad from back here. Like the color bleed.
So I am going to start to pop it open, and my guess is we're going to find something very obvious and very easy with the wiring. But if not, that's why Steve's here. So, and I'll turn the brightness back up so y'all could actually see what I'm doing and not just see a dark A dark
Yeah.
corner.
All right, guys, if we have anybody joining in late, thank you for showing up and joining us today as we work on Bob's CRTs. We started with the PVM, and now we're on the Samsung. And we'll wait for... there we go. Looks like our focus is coming in good on that thing. You can see it. It's a cool looking set. I always liked that
Yeah, and if we
paint
fix this
job,
one,
but
let's pop open that other BVM just to show people.
okay.
Because Shank was even asking about that. In fact, let me message him now. Shank's company just came out with a pretty awesome thing. I got to write the post when I'm done with this, but it's a replacement for SNES controllers that allows you to hook it directly up to a GameCube. Really cool.
Oh, wow, cool.
I just haven't had time to write the post.
Yeah, so you're going to want to take... There's 2 screws also holding that SCART input in to the back. You'll have to undo those 2 screws and the 4 black screws in each corner, 1 in each corner. One of those is a dummy hole. And then one of them, I think it's the other. You see how there's like the handle? It's in the middle of the handle. There's a up.
I can't see shit, to be honest with you. Let me grab a flashlight. I was just sticking it in and wiggling it around.
Yeah, Salvatore, cool man. Yeah, we had a good time at Retro World. It's always great. There's a lot of people came up. I really enjoyed speaking with everybody. I was really blown away with how much action was going on at the booth the whole weekend. I was sad I couldn't hang out Sunday as long, but I had a great time when I was there Saturday. Hey, Barcode.
Yeah, Retro World isn't the biggest expo, but it's like I don't mean to insult anybody by saying this, anybody in other regions, but I found it to be quality over quantity. You don't get as many people, but the people that you get actually want to be there. So you get to meet some really awesome people, and the vendors this year were great. They're always great, but last year I think they were a little bit funny with their pricing. Some of them, not all. This year they were better, but it's still, all expos crack me up because all expos will have the same thing. You'll walk over to one booth and see one game at a really fair price and in mint condition, and another game at like, that's crazy, who would pay that much for it? And then you walk 2 booths down and it's the opposite. The game that was a really good price is astronomical, and the game that was way overpriced on the other booth was normal priced. And I always wondered, like, I asked Esteban, Steve from Brooklyn Video Games, if does he pay attention to that stuff? Does that on purpose? And they're very much like, no, the price is the price. We try to give good prices for everything. We don't play those games at all. I wonder if anybody else does.
Bob, before you make sure,
where people like intentionally
make sure you unscrew that SCART input.
Prices.
Yeah,
I'm going to use the soft foamy thing to put on the glass so I could put it down and pull it off.
Well, make sure you unscrew the 2 screws that are holding the SCART input when you tip it up. You see those 2 silver screws?
That might be what I'm still stuck on, because we had the 2 dummy holes with no screws in them. And we had the 2 on top that I did remove the screws. These 2 on the bottom, so the only ones that I could see left are the SCART ones.
Is there any? I don't think there's any on the back other than that. And then there might be some clips you have to unclip to get that. And I'll show you where those are. I can see them from here. Looks like one of them might have popped off.
Smaller screwdriver for the SCART ones.
Oh, that's cool, Barcode. He said he took his PVMs to Pat, Save on Pat, and they were talking about us all. It's been a couple months since I've talked to Pat. Actually, probably since I was working on your PVM was the last time. In the shop.
Hey, when you were at the expo, did you get a chance to see the wrestlers at all?
I did see Gangrel at his booth.
No, I meant
but I didn't see like the. I didn't see
crew
any
that comes in. They are so good, and I happened to walk over this year. There was one little girl in the front row, definitely not 10 years old, younger than that, and she was so into it. And like the guy who's one of the main guys in this group always likes to play a heel, and he's so good. And he sees how into it she is, and she's dressed up in cosplay, and so he has the little guy who's fighting and bring him over to her, and the little guy runs over and points at her, and he goes, "Hey, kick him in the shin. So this little like 7-year-old girl runs up and woof. And the big dude just totally takes a hard fall. And it was amazing. And the mom of the little girl is crying, laughing so hard, getting the whole thing on video. And the girl goes to sit back down, and she's like talking to him, yelling at him for the whole rest of the show, the match. It was so funny. They were so good. I'm always really impressed with that crew. I tell them every year too. They're probably like, "Here's that fat guy coming to weirdly talk to us again." But every year, I'm like, "You guys are so good. Don't stop doing this."
All right, Bob's gonna get this off and see what kind of nightmare we have going in here.
Wiggling and jiggling. It looks like there's another jack up here.
Let's see. Is there
audio or something?
Oh yeah, there is. I'm sorry, that is an audio jack. I've completely forgot about that. So you might need.
That's got some more slack to it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I forgot about that one actually. So that can be like unscrewed too. Just.
What would that be,
simple thread. That's for yeah, like SCART, and then it's out stereo out instead of. I think that the something happened with the speaker on that TV and it stopped working. So I rerouted it so you could put out audio from the SCART.
Oh, so the speakers don't work on this one.
I don't think so. I don't remember. I don't think they do, or something like that. That's why I think you didn't hear anything when it was buzzing. Or when it was on gray and the volume was turned up. I'm not sure.
Well, anybody see where that screw went? I'll have to find that one later, I guess. Damn. Okay. So,
So the first thing is, look over that thing and see if anything looks like it's loose. Because it's.
See if I could zoom in to get a shot.
Judgment time here. Yeah, this was a mod I did. Goodness gracious, a long time ago. Let's see how it looks.
All right, I got to switch over to. I love my GH5 camera, but going back and forth between auto and autofocus and manual is not always the best. So let me. Yeah, this doesn't look like your new work, but there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, that's like.
There are two components that are touching, but not where they're exposed. But that's always a good place to start.
Yeah, that is. And just make sure everything's still connected.
You know what's funny too is I was just getting ready to sell this one because I got those others that match my room a little bit better, and I was like, I want to. Oh wait, and one of them came off.
One of them just came off. That was probably it.
Okay. I think that might be the issue. I hope that's the issue. That would be really nice.
That would make sense.
I might have just pulled it off though, when I was moving them around. So I don't know. But
I don't know. I bet it shifted and has done that, or I don't know, because there's points there, and then it goes to that switch on the side, and then it goes over into the chip.
So this is why I love my setup here. You know, these metal racks are ugly as shit. I do not like the way they look. I can't afford a beautiful custom job done. But look how functional this is. I just reached in and flipped on a switch, and now my soldering iron's heated up. And if I wanted to, I got the scope next to me. I got boxes of all my soldering equipment right here. I usually have a bigger table here, but my D32 is on it. So this is why I love this setup. It is ugly, but holy crap, is it functional.
Yeah, it is functional, and it's not that ugly. Actually, someone was asking here, look at this. Grail, you're asking about good recommendations for SCART breakout PCB. I actually got just sent 2 prototypes for that from Sunthar. And I don't know much about it yet. I haven't done the job. It's coming up. I've got an arcade monitor I have to do before I work on it, but I'm about to install this kit on 2 different, or it's like a generic kit with a PCB and a SCART input and a bunch of components that you need for that. So, and funny enough, I think I might have a 9PT60. That might be the one I'll use beside. The first one I'm going to do is a 36-inch KV with that kit. While Bob's doing that, let me go see if I can find that kit.
Yeah, I'll put this back together. And the other thing I was interested in as well is Ludo sent me a couple of kits, and I didn't know if there was what's the best one to use these days. So when if anybody in the chat has suggestions, but I also like to ask Steve's opinion because that's going to be kind of interesting to see. Is there like is it the old school by hand method still the same? Is there ways of tapping into the jungle chip to make it a little bit easier? Is that what's the correct thing to do?
Yeah. It depends on the set really, because some of them have some amazing places, like easy stuff to install places. So like this is a Sunthar kit. While Bob's working on this stuff, let's see, I'll show you what it looks like real quick.
I'm also going to look for that screw real quick. So
Okay,
excuse me a minute
cool.
while I crawl around.
So this is
if you want me to angle the camera down, onlyfans.com for no, I'm kidding.
actually I switched over where it's just me on cam right now, so I'm showing them this board. And then I'll switch back to you. So this is the board I got, one of them from Sunthar. And the cool thing about it is, now this could be any build out because there's a bunch of, you've got different resistor values here. But the cool thing I think about this is you can mount this easily, your SCART input, and it's got a nice board here instead of all that wiring junk you just saw that broke. That won't happen. And then the back end of this is a nice connection point where you can connect in just your cable. And it cleanly pops out like that. And you've got a nice kit right here. This is, again, it says sector. I don't know if you can read that at all. Let's see. Get in there. Sector.sunthar.com. So I've not tried this yet, but that will be coming. He sent me a bunch of them. And then there's another build out where it's like a little, if you don't like that, you could use this little RGB build out where it's like an 8-pin DIN instead of the SCART connector. So that's just what that looks like there. As Bob has this thing hooked back up. Yeah, very easy.
I'm ready to go. When let me know when you switch back over.
And yeah, we're back on.
So I'm gonna pre-boot the test suite into that pattern too.
Okay. And so look for that. That's definitely something that's coming soon. I'm interested to see that because that will be so much prettier. And that might be another thing. Yeah, you have to go back and try out. I mean, I could probably, if this thing that Bob has right here doesn't work, we may be able to send him this kit and he could swap it in. Oh, here we go. No. So, but it's something like that. Shit, that sucks. Moving any of that stuff that's not high voltage. The connections anywhere down in the.
I'm just wiggling all the connectors now too, without getting close to the high voltage. And I'm not seeing anything change at all.
No,
Nothing.
I'm not seeing anything change either.
But the good news is it has to be something with the mod because the OSD still looks fine.
Yeah, it is with the. It might be where.
Or does it? Is the OSD supposed to be blue?
Yeah, it is blue. Normally. I might have to pull the whole board out.
I mean, to be honest, as much as this red TV is really awesome, it doesn't match everything else in here. And the other one that I have has an S-video input and a composite input, so the other one's going to be better for me anyway. So other than messing around in the stream for fun, I think I'd rather spend the time to mod that other one with a new RGB kit. So I could just have one with tons of functionality. Because remember, as much as I enjoy games, my favorite game is the 240p test suite.
Oh yeah.
So it's still working.
So see, definitely modded them. Something is either shorting on the board or the chip, probably, or I'm not sure. Because that all looks normal. Yeah.
Odd that the sound doesn't work though.
Yeah, I don't know how that like quit out and never it stopped working one day and never came back, and I kept trying to trace down the problem and I couldn't figure out what it was.
I'm sure you tried a different speaker, right?
Yeah.
Weird.
I tried I tried a lot of different things. That's crazy that thing wasn't just that part that came undone.
The only thing that I'm kind of confused about, and it must have done this before, so I'm not, it's probably not it, but does this menu always come up when there isn't composite video plugged in? And was that messing with something somehow?
It's hard for me to remember. I think that will come up if you don't have anything connected, but I can't remember.
But if this is if the sync is connected to composite video on this line, that would also kind of make this thing go away, wouldn't it?
Does it go away when you put in a signal?
Yeah, so here is RGB SCART's connected, and that's still up.
That's like jumping around, and then now it's not jumping. Okay.
And now let me...
Oh, that is still there.
Now we're still very blue.
Oh, goodness. You want to discharge it and pull the whole thing apart?
Channels, fine tune. We could certainly try that, but
it's up to you. What do you think, everybody?
Let me also just let me very carefully spin it around, and I'll unplug it while I do this, but let me take a look with a flashlight on the inside and see if there's anything else that kind of jumps out at us.
Mm-hmm.
Because that almost feels like a short then, If
yeah.
it's making like 5 volts is shorted into one of the video lines, probably the blue video line or something.
Yeah, that's what it looks, something like that.
So one of the things people had asked me quite a bit over the years are these RGB mods reliable? And my honest answer is it depends on a lot of things. Like if it's a TV that was about to die anyway, no, it's not going to be reliable because the TV is about to die anyway. And also, who did it, right? That one that the TV that Cruz modded like 7-8 years ago, the guy who bought it walked over to the booth at Retro World and was like, "Yeah, it's still running great." So
really,
it's it all depends on who works on it. So it's not like, this is probably a TV that was on its way out, and we're probably going to end up troubleshooting other stuff. But
well, the board's not that great, right? It survived a fire, but I think that something, I don't know. I can't see exact, but I could see kind of where that's going into. This was the wrong.
It would be really hard for anybody in the camera to see it, like via camera to see it anyway.
Like so a helmet cam.
I'll put the camera in here in a moment, but I also just want to do my own little visual, and there's nothing visually wrong with this at all.
Because this was actually the way you shouldn't do the mod anymore anyway. Because this was the old school, where we thought it was the good thing to pull the legs on the chip up and then put your lines right there and inject in and out of there, as opposed to trying to find another spot, which now you don't do that with the chip because it can damage the chip.
If you want, Steve, I could send you still pictures.
Yeah, that's fine.
That way, that might actually work better for the...
I could see...
my camera just died. Or my battery in this thing just died. Son of a bitch, give me 1 second. But I think that might actually be better for the chat anyway, because you could zoom in as you'd like, and it's...
Yeah, I could do that.
Battery charger...
So...
I still have that big old battery.
There's also a point...
Okay.
I believe that mod might go under the board. So there's a point, it could be where the wires on the bottom of the board are shorted too. I think that is how that mod works. One side goes to the chip, and then one end of where those one end comes out from the chip, one end comes out from the bottom of the board and goes into that switch.
That's a good picture.
Cool.
Picture of that. Be fine. And just for fun, I'll include a picture of the SCART connector.
Okay. And if you can, lean the set forward and try to take a picture of the bottom of the board so I can see if... I don't know if that's going to be hard for you or not.
No, it'll be fine.
We'll see if there's anything that looks suspect there.
All right, while these are uploading, I will flip this sucker over. I don't have any clue what this thing is, but somebody used this as packing material, and now I've been using it to, like, I'll put a console down on it when I need to unscrew a console so it doesn't scratch. Yeah, whoever, if by the slim chance that whoever I bought that thing off of is watching this, thank you very much for including some awesome packing material, because now I could use it for tons of stuff.
Yeah, that's handy.
You
it's
know
not
you're
too
a
big.
freaking dork that ships a lot of stuff, that when you receive a package, you get excited about the box that it comes in.
Yeah.
And last picture, and then I'll send them over to you, Steve, if you want
That's
to
cool.
show the...
Yeah.
There's nothing on the bottom.
There's nothing in there?
No.
All right, well, never mind then. I guess I was wrong.
All right, but this will... Now let me just send these pictures over to you.
Yeah, see, the other one I did it was kind of the same thing with where, like you said, the very first Sony I did a RGB mod, a customer kind of wanted it, and I was like, look, man, I'm not going to charge you really much of anything. I charged him like $100 for it, and it had been fully recapped because I was like, I don't know about this one, and eventually it had an issue with the sync line on every input just died. And so I was like, yeah, it was just kind of time for that thing to go away. Nobody wants to invest a bunch of money into it. All right. Got these pictures coming through, guys.
That very first picture came out okay. I could take any more pictures in any
Let's see.
way that you would like them.
All right. Oh, I see. Yes, it is coming out from that same thing. All right. Let me try to get these. Pulled down. Well, that's not really what I want. Here's what I want. Okay. All right, everybody, let's see if we can get these photographs pulled up on this. And yeah, see, so that might be too. That's where the mod goes in. So you can see how what I did was I put the RGB and blanking right there under those heat shrink tubing. That's where it goes off into the chip or to the switch, and then right under that is where it goes from. You can see blue, green, red, and sync. So that I put those back in the hole after I pulled the chip. So you'd have the only thing you could do is check the solder under there where that is. But you could tell actually this set wasn't recapped, Bob. I can see that now. Okay. That first picture is like I would think it would be somewhere in there.
I did wiggle those wires though, and it did nothing.
I'm wondering if they're under... Wait, what here is this? What's this line? Let's see, what about... It looks like there's a jumper inserted here that I did something with. I don't know what that is. That black line to a white yellow line right there. Gosh, I can't remember. Looks like I cut those and redid them at some point. Hmm. Let me check the next picture out here.
I mean, I'm here, so let me just plug this thing in, and I'll plug it back and try to wiggle all that stuff around one last time,
Okay.
and then I'll, I'll probably just box it up and put it in the garage,
Okay.
and give it to you the next time I see you, or if anybody wants to buy it for basically nothing, knowing that it's a composite video monitor that you need to RGB mod it, that's cool too.
Right. Look at this was so this is the switch where you would send RGB blanking from the sync or from I'm sorry, from the SCART and instead of the OSD. And that's how it would go from that switch. When you hit the switch, it's just a two-way switch. See that? I mean, it's all looks fine. That part. It's definitely big old school work I used to do. Goodness. All right, let's see. This was there's the composite video and ground. Nothing there. This is why it's so much better to have
The only other thing about this is I genuinely don't remember if the on-screen display was always heavily blue tinted like this.
Yeah,
because it could be the OSD chip is gone, and that could be part of the issue.
That's true. Let's see. That goes up, and that hits the ground. That goes up.
Yeah, so this is actually the best screen I could possibly use. Let me get this back to the other setting.
Yeah, see, there it is, a blue again.
So that's just the EverDrive.
Yeah.
So anybody that has one of these knows that's just a black background. Guys. So that's the easiest way to tell something's wrong. And let's see, let me just wiggle all of these wires to tell, but. All right. Here on the switch.
Wow, hang on a second. Sorry, I don't know what this thing's. Discord just did something.
And this is obviously the same Nomad and RGB SCART cable that we just used on the other monitor, so we know that the colors and everything are okay. Although, let me just see what happens if I grab a sync-on composite video cable. Who knows? Maybe that'll give us a clue to something, or maybe it's just going to do the same shit.
My Discord stuff went all crazy for a second, so hang on anyway. I don't know what happened. I opened up that file, and it just started going crazy. Started opening up my entire inbox here. And now I can't get it to go away.
Right.
So I had to take you.
Yeah, McKiller. I think this one, Steve. Do you have a video of you fixing this to cross-reference, or is this was before you started doing the videos on the heavier side?
I do. Man, I've sorry. I need a second. I don't know what the heck I've done to this darn. Hang on. All right, I think I got it back. Golly.
Same thing with sync on composite, by the way.
It's going crazy. It's just reversed my camera now. Awesome. There we go. What's going on here? Oh, okay. There we go. I think I got you back finally. Good. God bless the free programs that act up for you a little bit. All right. Let's see here. You wanted to see a video. The last one on.
You know, it is kind of funny. If I connect a sync on composite cable to the SCART port, it feeds composite video through.
Yeah.
But because it's not plugged into the front port, it still thinks that there's nothing connected.
Yes, so that I don't believe that always would turn. Well, gosh, I knew it would turn up if you had it on that input and had nothing connected, but it shouldn't. Yeah, that's, man, it's hard for me to remember. Damn. Let's see. Let's go to the oldest.
I'm looking for a thing like. Oh, okay. Wait.
I mean, there's quite a few videos, but they're like 4 years old on my channel. Let's see. So I don't know which exactly one, because there's one where it had vertical collapse that I had to fix. And I'm trying to see the most recent one. Because I did the video after I moved, so it would have been 2 years ago. It would have been the
I don't know what I
most
just did.
recent. Did it just power off?
I think I powered it off through the menu. That's weird.
Huh. That is weird. Let's see if I can find that most recent video on it. I'll drop that in the chat for a second. Gotta be getting closer. Oh, here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome back today to Retro Tech.
Let's see. All right, I found it. All right, and if anybody want to look to this, I'm going to drop this finally in the chat. Let's go over here too. So this is that's the video that was on it most recently, if anybody wants to look at it and come back and see. But I think that's just going to show you what it all looks like really up close and how I cleaned it and things. Bob may be right. Something may have happened to the chip. When I originally did this mod, I did have to replace the jungle chip with a replacement jungle chip.
Oh, are you seeing this?
I see it
When
scrolling.
it's off in RGB mode, it's glowing blue. Okay.
What's
so
going on?
There's nothing connected to this TV right now. And when it's in RGB mode, there's a blue tint. And when it's not, there's a black tint in back. So, and there's nothing at all connected.
Okay.
All right. So this one, lost cause for today. Not forever, but for today. Because this is going to, that would require us getting in and basically redoing the RGB mod.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah. And it might be something else got damaged. Yeah, that's...
Where did I put my foam thing? Is Ash in the chat? He always fucking steals that whenever I need it.
No, he hasn't been here today. He must be busy.
Oh, man. Where is it? At least it's not the charger for my camera like last time.
I was like laughing. Yeah, that was something. Let's see. 1615, huh? Let's see. See the video. That was still... I'll go back and check it out.
Cable here. Get the back ready. It's so funny. What the hell? I don't know what I could have done with it that's outside of my range of view here. I haven't stepped out of a 5-foot radius.
That's what I always lose stuff.
Did it fall behind something? Oh, it fell behind something. Ah. Got it.
Yeah, that's...
So the only other monitors, like I have those two 20-inch consumer grades. I would definitely like to do an RGB mod at some point. But other than that, the only other one I have that's not currently in near perfect shape is that other D9. And since we're here, we might as well just it's only been an hour and 20. It's not too long of a stream, so maybe we take a look at that, just to even if it's basically just confirming what we already know. So other people might have an idea if something like that happens to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking back at that, and it looked like there was there might have been some scorched spots on that bottom side of that board. So I don't know. Maybe there's something going on under there. It just needs a closer look, a trace or something. I'm not sure. Because when I looked back at that video, and that's about 2 years old on that video. Not surprising. Survived a fire.
Well, I mean, if it's any consolation, when the RGB mod worked, it looked phenomenal.
Yeah, that's the only part. The tube probably could be used for something. I bet it. If somebody had an arcade that was like a 20-inch arcade, it might fit in there. If it worst case scenario, because the tube is still good.
Before I put it together, let me take pictures of the label on the tube and send them to Dell.
Yeah.
Because I bet you he might know if there's an arcade machine that'll work with this. Let me set this aside. The picture's right here. Because if Dell says, "Oh no, that's the perfect monitor for this thing," I'd rather just drop this thing off to him.
Yeah.
And and then just have Dell hook me up with a favor afterwards. Yeah.
Because I know some of those are good for that.
And this was 13-inch or 20? No, this was 20-inch, right?
Yes, that's a 20-inch. Just can't find good CRT techs. How can I even recommend myself? Look at this. That's why I gave Bob this one for free as a gift, I remember.
What did you end up doing with all the 14 inches? Were you able to sell those, or are those just sitting in your lab?
I have them here. I've not really done much with them yet. I don't think there's...
Because all of them had something unique about them to make it a worthy trade, in that, you could definitely RGB mod a couple of them. Some of them already had features that people might want to buy, and because they're 14 inches, you could actually ship them, and they might possibly arrive without too much damage on them.
Yeah, I've been actually speaking with my... there's a lot of these antique malls around here in this town, and I'm seriously tempted to open up a booth there and see how that goes, so I can maybe put that, if people wanted to come into town for some reason or were passing through this area they knew and they wanted to go stop by a place and look, and I'd have a couple CRTs for sale they could just pick up and leave with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kind of like a game store too. I'd put anything else I needed for sale there. It also give me some space, but I don't know. I've never done that, but I don't think it's too tough. There you go. Just jam it. You might watch that. It might be that cable or something.
Let me double check there wasn't a wire there, but I think that's just a clip. No, there was no wire there at all. There's a clip that you got to snap it into place. That's why I was just kind of whacking it a little bit. When in doubt, whack it.
Oh, goodness. Oh, wonderful stuff here. Let's see what I've got behind me. Let's see if I can throw some. Oh, here we go. Let me get you guys a little action here while Bob's working on that. Bob's working on that. So let's see. All right, so Bob, did you hear about the 2 radios that got married?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
The reception was fantastic.
My niece loves dad jokes, And every time she comes over, she brings the book and wants to start reading jokes. And every time, I've never once laughed, and I always tell her, I don't think these are funny. You need to learn what it's like to be in a room of people that don't think you're funny. Because I'm that guy 99% of the places that I go. People do not like my sense of humor. You need to learn when it's the right time to tell this joke. And she gets so mad. She's like, I can't understand why I don't like him. I'm like, that's a skill that you're going to need to learn very quickly in life.
Yeah. That's what I was laughing at. Usually I tell these jokes, and of course I'm just selling them out there to blank airspace. It's just like to try to get, usually it takes like 20 minutes to get the stream where people finally figure out what's going on. And so I'm usually like, oh, before I actually do my hard work, I'm going to tell some dad jokes and you could skip past these later. Because my kids bought me probably the same book that you have to get read to. Over 350 cringy, bad dad jokes. Yeah, it's doing the same thing. It's lighten up.
Oh, B+ for effort here.
It's not.
We opened
it's
it.
not
I
any
took
worse.
a look at it. It's fine. It'll go right into my garage.
I'll wait to hear if it's a winner.
I was laughing because after Retro World this year, I was like, oh, my garage is only going to have one CRT in it, that VGA monitor I'm looking to sell. The one from the RGB on VGA monitors video. It is a brand new monitor in the box, other than the 2 hours I used it to make that video.
Really?
By the way, this is my handy little trick right here. For anybody, the old antenna holes, you just put a twist tie around it, and that's a really great way to secure the cable so it doesn't flop around, especially
Nice.
on bigger CRTs, or if you trip and fall with it, you might break a body part. So, let me move this over, and I'll grab the other one. But yeah, that VGA monitor is awesome, and as I showed in that video, one of the biggest things if you're doing scan lines with a 240p on a 480p monitor, you just need to turn the brightness up. But the problem is, so many of these monitors have thousands and thousands of hours of use, so they won't go bright enough. And that's, even though they're still super sharp monitors, they're just not as bright. So that's one of the reasons people might want this one. It's just because it's, it's not the world's greatest monitor, but it's brand new. Even with scan lines on, you can't turn the brightness up all the way. So this is it's a perfect thing for somebody who's got an OSSC or a RetroTink 2X and also wants a mix of like Dreamcast and GameCube at the same time.
Now, what brand is that one? Was it a Dell?
IBM, 17
IBM.
inch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are good.
Doesn't do anything fancy. Can't do crazy refresh rates.
Yeah.
It's not a Shank monitor. It's but it's, if you're like, I have a Dreamcast and GameCube and original Xbox, but I also want to play a couple other things on it as well, then absolutely perfect.
Or with you could pair that with a Mister. You could pair that with a.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. You if you just pair it with a Mister, even with the HDMI out through one of those cheap $8 adapters that I was just talking about, you could plug that directly in, add the scan lines and Mister. I had that whole live stream I did on that, and it'll come out beautiful. Now you have a 17-inch zero lag CRT.
Yeah, that you didn't pay $1,000 for.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I probably would let that go for like $400.
That's the thing. I know that people like the conditions. That's big for the VGA CRT. It's hard. Some of them do have hour trackers, and I got extremely lucky with mine because it only had like 2,000 on it, but that's still not new.
No, this is brand
a lot of
new.
these.
Literally,
a lot of these
time shot in that video was it.
A lot of these were put into businesses just like the PVMs and BVMs, but they would have been left on with a computer display on them the whole day. So, or different things, but they were definitely running a lot. A screensaver, so it didn't burn. But the old school screensavers would have been just running on that thing all day, racking up hours. Wags, Mike, I did paint that shell. And if you go back way back in the Wayback Machine to 4 years ago, if you go to my channel and you go to the oldest videos, you'll find those. You'll see the red CRT paint job video pretty soon. That's what I was scrolling through.
So this is a ghetto-hacked version of a power adapter. Steve from HD Retrovision let me borrow, but we did test this.
Yeah,
and
that's
Steve was a
awesome.
witness. We tested this with the official adapter, and we also tested this adapter with the good working D9. So this is not the problem.
That's the good thing, because that one doesn't take up all the bulky space of the AC adapter. Did you take all the cards out?
Yeah.
Is it jumping?
A little bit, but at least it's working. Let me take the bezel off. And you know what? Just because all you people are awesome and you've been so nice to super chat Steve, you're now only the second group of people on the entire planet to see what I'm about to show you. I'll show you just out of courtesy because you're all freaking awesome. So, all of these. Oh, and it's doing the focus thing too.
Yeah, that's what it'll
But
start.
all of these come with a 16:9 bezel because by the time these were made, it was mostly HD resolutions. So the 4x3 bezels sell for stupid amounts of money. So there are replacements coming, and the main replacement will look very, very close to this. You can't get it perfect because we're not doing injection molding, we're doing pressure molding.
Okay.
So it'll look good. It won't be two-tone. There won't be like the black insert, but I've had a couple prototypes here. I sent them back with my list of changes. And now, let me just pull this thing off. Sorry. Here is one of the special editions that will be released.
That looks so cool. I love that. Check that out. Look at that. First time to see it. You know, I forgot. Gosh, I forgot to. Yeah, I think that like maybe Corey from My Life in Gaming is really wanting one of these, if I remember correctly. I can't remember.
These will be coming out very soon.
That looks
My
so
guess would be
awesome.
by
Look,
the
you
end
even
of the
got.
year.
I think you might have missed it, or people probably might not have seen it as much. Go back down there. You can see it's got the Sony emblem
Yeah.
embossed there.
Because
Right there.
it's completely clear, you're actually seeing the writing that's on the inside of the bezel. Because when Rourke does his molds, you get everything. You get the inside and the outside of it. So that's why you're seeing all this stuff. So on the
looks so
regular
good.
ones, it's basically going to be this color, but all that color. And you'll still, and so it'll still look good and everything, but it'll just be stock looking, which is fine. You still get the Sony logo and all that stuff on there. So it's not going to be a 100% exact replacement, but it's certainly going to be better than the 3D printed ones. And I'm not throwing shade against the 3D printed ones. I'm a massive fan of 3D printed everything. It's just the fact is they never look as good as injection molding or pressure molding. And there's another one Rourke did for fun. I can't remember if it was you or Corey who said they wanted it, but yeah,
I think that's what I said. I think it must be recorded Atomic Purple. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. You got your 90s fix. Hey, Tony. Good to see you. Yeah, the Prison PVM. There you go. The Prison BVM, actually, Grail.
Yeah, these will most likely be for sale by the end of the year. And,
Excellent.
And
Good to
they
hear.
will not be the same price that you pay for the official 4x3s. Not even close. Not even remotely close. Those sell for hundreds, and I think these are going to be less than 100. I'm almost sure they will be.
And they look really, really good.
So that blurriness is exactly what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, and
the more I
this
turn the
thing
brightness up, the blurrier it gets.
doesn't it? Is it always blurry, or is it snapping back into blurry? Is it like
No, now it's always blurry. So I should pop it open and see what's up.
you can, or you could send? Yeah, it looks like it's always blurry. It's not like
Oh, it's getting worse and worse.
yeah,
too.
and then it'll pop back into.
No, this one's not doing the popping.
Maybe after a minute it will, because usually it was doing it much faster than that, where it would like snap, and then
Oh, you're right. It's coming back.
there you go, and it'll do that.
A lot
It's like the
slower.
focus circuit on the flyback's messed up. What's up, Dell?
And we're in focus.
Dell
the,
showed up. Dell showed up because he's been getting texts from Bob. He said, Yeah,
Hey, what's up, Del?
we were wondering about a 20-inch tube if you needed it for a if it was possibly or not, if it was possibly a good one. He sent you some pics.
Del, I could take those readings, or if you wanted, I could just drop this thing off at your house the next time I'm down there. It's
Sure,
literally
wants
just
it.
going to go sit in my garage for a while if you don't want it. So if you wanted to take a look, you could see if the tube is something that you could use. Take it and, owe me a tube at some point.
Uh,
But yeah, this is actually looking pretty good now. So
yeah, it
let's
would.
open it up
So
and see what we could do.
it would do that and look good for a while, and then start to get squirrelier. It seemed longer it would run. So we'll see how it
I think
goes.
one of Shank's friends wanted to borrow this to test some stuff. So at the very least, I would think, yes, he absolutely could use this just to test some things. Obviously not sharpness, not playing a tournament on, but test some new parts, sure.
Well, the Leaf, those are just specifically for that D9 right now, because that's just one that's super super needed. There weren't enough 4x3 bezels made for that BVM specifically, so it's just for that one. Clean the focus pin on the neck. Well, we can definitely get the neck board out. Or you want to clean the focus pin on the neck of the tube, or not? No, that would be the tube, not the neck board. I don't know if you can get. You think it's just the socket on the neck board that would cause that kind of popping? Could be.
Okay.
But it's going to be hard to find the socket on the neck board for this thing. I guess we'll have to try to find I don't know.
Daniel, if you were asking who's the seller for the bezel, I don't know who's going to be selling those. Maybe it's Steve. I don't know. We'll figure it out afterwards. I want to get them made first.
And I will definitely
I'm having these funded just to make sure that they get made, because I have a feeling this is going to be one of those things that 20 people buy it day one, and there's going to be 0 sales for like months. And then somebody's going to mention on like a BVM group on Facebook, like, hey, you don't have to spend all that money. You could just buy one of these, and then there's going to be another 20 bought, and then one of those things.
Right.
So probably not something stores are going to want to be super excited about. But I don't really give a shit. I'm not a store. I'm Bob from Retro RGB, bitch. We're trying to get cool stuff for each other.
Right. So that's what we'll share it. So Bob, to get to the neck board, you have to go. You can take on that side. Yeah. You'll have to get some screws off, and you'll have to get some screws off the back too. And Dell, if you're still here, we need to do a stream together soon too. It could be next week. I will be streaming Thursday too. If you got time Thursday, let me know. Hit me up with a DM. I only use like Twitter for DMs pretty much, so I think I don't know if you get on there very much, or Discord, but I don't think I've got you as a friend on there yet. So I need to change that. But either way, hit me up and we'll get together I'll send you another message at Twitter.
Yeah, Dylan, hit me up on Discord, because Discord for me is always better.
Yeah, really, for DMs. So that neck board right there could be that socket. He's saying now to get the neck board out, you have to remove that backpack right behind it, right there. Yeah. And to do that, you roll it around.
All gazillion screws on here? Or just,
yeah, most of them. Turn it around the back. I'll show you which ones you got to get.
The whole bracket, right?
Well, I think there's a couple you don't have to get, but if you let me see the view of it, I might tell you the exact ones you'd be able to do, but it might be all of them. I actually already reflowed the solder on this one before. Yeah, it is going to be all those pretty much. Those all need to come out. Now the problem is there's a focus breakout you'll see in a second on this neck board that that may
Oh,
also be
so
bad.
it's just the 3 on the side, and then I think the one over on this side.
Yeah, and you might, I don't know. However, you can just get that up and out of the way.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, let me put
And you
these
can
over
put
here
that.
so I don't forget. By the way, just for anybody curious, that's a magnetically shielded speaker, of course.
I didn't know what that was. It was a humidifier or something, maybe. Now there's a cable pack down there. You can just release all that and get it out of the way if you want. See? Yeah, and then there's one up top too.
I actually think I got enough slack with it like this.
Okay. Now this one,
So you said you already reflowed this board here, correct?
I did, but it could be an issue with that. I don't know. We could pull that off and look at it again, but you have to be very, very, very. There you go. Careful. And then,
I'll try to zoom into the back of this board.
yeah, see, I don't think it's like that. Well, it may, because that side's been. Does any of that solder look like it's not the flux capacitor? You can get that board completely out, but you do have to unsnap a point at the neck board, or I mean at the. You'll have to undo all those little cables.
I can try my best to get it out.
Like there's some.
I could just pull these right off, correct? Pull them straight up?
Yeah, yep. Just pull that white one straight out of, because it's soldered into the neck board. Pull it straight out of the flyback on the outside there. Now let's go look at that socket. Now the socket will have some wires going into it too, right? You have to take the black one out too, I believe. Oh, you got it. That was easier than I thought. All right. Hang on here. All right, there we go. All right. So that was all reflowed, but what
I'm gonna
about flipping it?
I'm also
flip it
just
over
gonna kind of
and-
take a look
Yeah.
myself with some glasses on and see, because it looks perfect right now, but you know how that goes. So
Yeah.
it's
And I don't know if something's up with that socket. If something internally is in that socket looks corroded, it might be an issue. If you look on the where it goes into the tube. On the other side of the board.
No, this looks perfect.
Look in the other side. See if the socket where it goes in, if there's anything looking sketchy in there. Because actually, I didn't put any like deoxit or anything. I don't know in there that I didn't do that. But you see that? I'm wondering if something happens. There's this little weird. The focus goes through that weird breakout right there. That's
that thing, right?
No, that's the stat. That's the H stat. The focus goes through the black path. So it goes through that weird box right there, and I don't know if there's anything wrong with what's inside of that black box.
I mean, this one?
No, I'm sorry. The one that's actually that little box right there, yes. Now we're doing like Roger.
Autofocus, do your job.
We're acting like Roger here. Hey, Felipe, thanks for coming in. There we go. Yeah, that thing. That's an odd, because that goes right into the focus pin right there into the neck. And it's only got 2 weird solder points. I don't know if there's anything internally that goes bad with that. But that's kind of what I didn't know, that it was that, or was the whole focus circuit in the fly back, but oh shoot, you already got rid of the other one, right?
Say that last thing again?
You already got rid of the other D9?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about trying to put that other good neck board in there to see if it would have worked with this one, if it was just a neck board issue.
Well,
So
that's the focus right here. This thing?
yes, yes. And I pulled that other board out and reflowed the flyback.
Let me try plugging this stuff back in.
Dell is asking to do a close up of the pin socket side where the pins go into the neck board. So you can, if you want, take a picture and send that of just that to me, just like the.
You mean the socket?
Yeah,
just
like
this
right
thing
there.
here?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Let me get you that picture.
All right, guys. Thanks again, everybody, for showing up today. And if you can, if you showed up late, definitely still helps out if you drop a like on the video, and it will still help. People will get to see it later too. If you come back, if you come in now, you can come back and watch. Bob and I have been looking at, this is the third CRT now, and we've been going for an hour and a half. So get to see inside 3 different levels of CRTs.
You got the message, right?
All right, let me check. I'm sure I did. Yes, I did. Okay. All right, let's do it this way so I can just pull it up and slide just that picture over instead of trying the inbox like I did last time. Here we go. So you've got, let's see, that's the static. Focus goes in around here, right? So it's got H2, H1, G1, green, red, G2. Let me get back and see if I can see the actual chat now. All right, now I don't, yeah, it's really hard to see anything in there, Dell, I think. Unless there's corrosion inside where that black flyback or focus cable goes in, Bob, to the neck socket, unless there's something in there, but you may be able to pop that plastic back a little bit and out.
It looks like I can. Let me try to do that and see if it's all corroded. I could try to clean it out.
Yeah, maybe we'll get lucky and there'll be something in there. I thought I looked at it, but I'm not sure. Tony, I'm gonna get your stuff all packed up today, and then Tony's getting a couple of his. He's the one who actually owns the lovely Sony KV8 that I added that S-Video mod to. Hey,
I think
Chris.
I have to take this plastic piece off to get to that plastic
Yeah, that's
piece.
good. All right. Okay.
And then
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. Do you have any kind of deoxit? We can just try that, putting that in the socket too.
I might. I had so much of that stuff and lost it in the move.
Yeah.
And every time I go to buy a new one, I'm like, I don't need that. I have that somewhere over here, and then I never find it.
But I'm going to wait to go down to the shipper till first thing in like the morning here, because they usually in the afternoons are a pain in the neck, the afternoon shift down there. So, but they get to go cross country. Luckily, they're small.
Isn't it funny how you just get to know the people that work places?
Yeah, like, yeah. Well, the thing that sucks is when I actually lived in Tennessee, I had a great relationship with the ground shipper, like a business, and they worked with every shipping company, so they did all of them, like not just going into like a UPS only or a FedEx only. And I got a great relationship with them, and they would like cover extra insurance on things. And anytime I had a problem, never had a problem. Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. Wow. Maybe,
pretty good to me.
yeah. Goodness, I wonder if, maybe even just a little alcohol, but yeah, I'm not sure about anything.
I'm gonna go look for my deoxit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 1 second here. And if you and Dell have any
Yeah, whenever you get that done, just send a picture to Dell of each side of that neck board. Now that you got it opened up like that. You can also check the inside of that socket on the socket side, Bob, like that's hanging. See if there's any, because that will be connected with a solder joint.
Nah. No, that's pretty solid.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I had a good relationship with those shippers, so that was one of the saddest parts about moving was the fact that here there's no little shipper like that, like no shipping stores. It's all chains.
I just sent that over to you. I'll be right back.
Okay. Sounds good. No worries. We're good. We're all good here. Check it out. Since Bob's away and he doesn't actually like the dad jokes, maybe I'll tell you one more. What do we got here? Why couldn't the lifeguard rescue the hippie? He was too far out. Man, these are bad. Why don't they play poker in Africa? Too many cheetahs. All right. That's enough for right now. That's 3 dad jokes. I think I still got the dad jokes thing here, Will. Dad jokes! Over with. Okay. So we keep some segments going here. Oh, I probably did snuffer stuff. I tried to keep him. Now I'm going to have to mark it off. It's probably because it's like the first one. Why don't melons get married? They can't elope. Why don't cannibals eat clowns? Because they taste funny. Oh my gosh. Why don't skeletons like scary movies? They don't have the guts. Man, these are amazing. All right,
That's
bad's
terrible.
bad. Oh, I know. All right. Thanks, action.
All right, so I found deoxit.
Okay. We can also jam a little bit of that on the actual pins of the tube. Or spray a tiny bit, I guess, because it'll clean the corrosion off there. It really won't hurt anything.
I'm gonna get some paper towels too.
Maybe we'll have a little luck. I'll give you another spot. We'll get another couple spots to deox it. We'll deox the connection points for where it goes into the flyback. Pull those pins back and deox where it goes into that black weird box on the neck board itself. Deox the neck board neck insert or neck socket for the tube. And we'll just see if that kind of if there's a cleaning issue and a corrosion issue. Because that would be the luckiest and nicest thing. And I don't know why wouldn't have tried this myself, but maybe I did. I don't remember.
All right, so I'm going to be a little bit OCD about this because I just don't want to soak my entire room in this monitor in deoxit.
Yeah. It's okay. Right.
Pins do look a
Deoxit
little bit
is...
oxidized, actually. Now that I have the paper towel there as a background, let me send you a picture of this.
Looks pretty nasty.
It would be really, really nice if this was all it was. All right, Steve, sending this to you.
All right. Yeah. Let's see. Save the photo. And it's that one. It's not the one we need. Yeah, there's, definitely some corrosion down there on that pin. Looks like. Cool. Maybe we'll get lucky. Yeah, that's all good. Bob, get at the other end of that black box where those connect into the black box on that, if you can.
Like pull these connectors off?
Yeah. Pull those back a little bit, see if you can get that out and do each one of those while you're at it. Let's do it.
Would an electronics brush help on those the neck pins?
What do you think? He's asking if you had a fiberglass pen, so I'm guessing yeah.
Yeah, I do actually.
Something. Just be careful on those pins. You don't want to do it too hard.
Oh my god! Imagine if I snap one of those pins, I'd start crying. All right, if I was a fiberglass pen, where would I be? Would I be in my box?
Not in the same spot as the deoxit, I guess.
Yeah, am I in the toolbox or am I in the modding equipment box? It's always a conundrum. I have a pair of $100 cutters that I was going to use for some project.
What?
And yeah, because the head.
$100 cutters.
Let me manual focus this. Because they're very strong, so the metal won't snap off. But they're long on the cutting part.
Wow.
And I bought them for a project because I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to need those. And I've never used them once.
Cole is still snoring.
There's definitely a fiberglass pen in here somewhere, though. I just have to dig through all this other useless stuff I rarely use to get to it.
Let's see. He's down there somewhere, isn't he?
All right, well, I found some electronics brushes, so even if I can't
Busted.
find that, at least it's better than nothing.
See him.
But I know I have one because I've used it quite a few times.
It's so funny. I put up all these sound gates on OBS from Epis Fox's tutorial class I bought, and I've never had any sound from all the things in my basement come through except my dog snoring. Somehow beats all the sound gates.
That is very funny.
And so people are always like, I hear him snoring. What's going on?
Try. I'm going to take another minute to keep looking because we came this far.
Yeah, it's fine. The other spots will be all nice and dried up too. It's like sleeping with one eye open too. In there, let's see. I don't think I can zoom.
Wait, The fiberglass brush isn't sitting right in front of me, is
No.
it? Oh, you
Ah!
unbelievable moron. All right.
What?
Well,
All right,
you win
cool.
some, you lose some. At least I found the brushes too, so I could brush off if there's any fiberglass particles left on it.
Still says using the fiberglass pen, spray deoxit on the pens again, and then dry with a paper towel. Dell's advice. I've actually never cleaned the pens on a tube. But makes sense when you're in the arcade environment, those things can get super dirty.
So spray it again after I've cleaned it?
Yeah, I guess so. That's what he says to do. I give it a super cleaning, I guess. That way, if anything you rubbed off with the any particles rubbed off by the pen might get off there better. Whoops. Sorry about that, folks.
So there's this guy, I don't know if it's getting picked up on the mic now, but there's this guy with a car with an exhaust on it. I think it's, I forgot what kind of car it was. It's like a Nissan, a tricked out Nissan or something. And when I first moved in, he used to come around the corner at like full speed. Like I always have driven fast, and it like unsafe feeling even for douchebag me who likes to drive fast. And all of a sudden one day he just puts by at like 20 miles an hour every time he comes by, and has done it ever since. And I'm dying to know what happened. Was it as simple as he just got a ticket? It was like, oh, okay. Or was it like one of the parents of the kids in the neighborhood went out and dragged him out of his car? Like, you're going to kill one of these kids one of these days, and I'm going to kill you. So stop. I was so curious to know what actually happened on that, but I guess I'll never know.
Yeah. Did you ever see him driving? Was he young or?
No, that was kind of the weirder thing.
Because I would figure then maybe he got a ticket and his parents were like, "You're losing your license if you do that again." But yeah, who knows?
I mean, maybe. We unfortunately live in a time where there's plenty of people, you and my age, that never moved out of their parents' house, never got a real job,
my
never
gosh.
had any responsibility. So who knows? That could have very well been what happened. He went home and his parents scolded him, sent him to his room at 40.
No meatloaf for you, buddy. Go back to your basement. Here I am in my own basement.
A little different, Steve. All right, I am just, there's a bunch of grease that the deoxit had left on this.
Sure.
So
Yeah, just
I know
take
it's
your time.
non-conductive, but like, it's never a good thing to just leave goo on something.
Nice Michael Scott moment. That's what she said. More bad jokes.
Okay, putting that back. And then this goes back on. And luckily there's already an outline on the back of this thing, so I know where it went.
Yep.
Drop that sucker over.
Well, man, I've gotten So I drive an old classic car most of the time. When I go on the trips, I drive the supercharged Audi Q7, and I go like way too fast sometimes on the highway.
When I used to travel all the time for work, I was part of the Hertz rental car fancy pants package.
Yeah.
So if they were out of cars, they would always just give me like the tip top car for the cheapest price because I was there. I was probably averaging once a week. There were some weeks I would travel multiple times and rent in multiple places, but average once a week for a while there, traveling for work. And one of the times they gave me this tricked out Shelby Mustang, and I thought it was cool and everything, but it wasn't as impressive as I thought. And supposedly there were Hertz rental car put a limiter in there or anything, so you can't get its full power. And the kid that I was working with at the time was like, "We could hack it," and I'm like, "Dude, it's my name on the thing. No, it's a hard no. Because if your ass breaks it, I can't afford to replace it." So it was, it was nice and everything. But then maybe a week later, they gave me the same situation. They were sold out, and they gave me a tricked out Impala SS, but it still just looked like an old person's car. So we're driving, and there was a long stretch of road to get where we were going, and I would often drive way too fast. But we're going there, and all of a sudden I look down, and we're doing 125 miles an hour. That Impala SS was so much faster and so much smoother.
Yeah.
It was hilarious to see. The neck board seems like
Yeah,
skew.
it's for some reason it just sits in there kind of skew, I think, sometimes.
Because it's notched, so it's not like I put it one notch over. It only goes in one way, right?
Yeah, it would only go in that way because it's got to be sitting straight up like that. So it's in there right.
All right.
Looks like it from here.
Yeah. I am just gonna go wash my hands real quick so I don't
Sure.
get deoxid over absolutely everything.
All right. That's
I'll be right. I'm
Quick
gonna talk
put-back.
through it too, so y'all. And if somebody joins, they don't think I've forgot to take my mic off and I'm peeing. Never happened to me, but it might someday. Probably will. Very lucky to have access to a sink right here too. It makes a lot of these mods better because I don't have to worry about getting grease over whatever it is that I'm modding.
Yeah. I have one of those old big sinks in the basement. Makes it easier. That you never clean. It's just big and nasty and plastic.
When I was in high school, my room was in the basement, and there was no bathroom down there, and we had one of those big plastic basin sinks. So, of course, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm a
that's
shitty
what
little
it is.
teenager. I don't want to go upstairs to pee in the middle of the night. So I used to just go pee in that because, like, part of the basement was finished and the other part wasn't. And a couple of my friends were over, and we were, sneaking beers, and I told them to do the same. And I would just like pour bleach in the sink every couple of days and hose it down, and it would be fine. And I forgot to do it one time, and my mom comes down. We had all hit our beers. And she goes to put laundry in, and she's like, "Oh man, it looks like our sink's getting yellowed. We might have to get a new one." And I was like, "Oh really? Yeah, I'll clean it. Might have been that paint we put in it, right, guys? That paint that we were using to clean it." So yeah, that was embarrassing, but whatever. Bleach it when you're done. Well,
Call that half a bathroom, right?
yeah.
Looking good. At least everything's plugged back in the right way, right? It looks like
Make
it.
sure you plug everything back in the neck board correctly. Yeah, I double and triple checked, Dell, and the only two that I was really concerned about were these two connectors here, but I made sure to not reverse them. So
Yeah, I know that for sure. You got those right. The whites on the outside.
yeah, exactly. You know how I remembered? Did anybody here ever watch Modern Family?
Yeah.
There was one episode where they were making fun of the dad for being super competitive, and they were at some kind of like family camp or something, and they had divided everybody up into teams by color. So team yellow, team white, team red, team black. and they took an Uber home, and Phil, the dad's got a T-shirt that says "White is right." Their Uber driver wasn't white, and he's rubbing their face like "White wins, white's the best," because he was just talking about the stupid family picnic thing.
It's so ridiculous. Oh, that's funny.
I like that show. They never hesitated to just absolutely embarrass that guy.
Oh man, yeah, that's pretty funny.
So I'm not going to put the case back on, but I am going to at least screw down the sideboards and everything just to make sure.
Right.
Because I don't want it to work, and then I go to screw these down and it shifts a cable, and then now it's not working, and we don't know why.
Yeah, let's see.
Right. There we go.
Is Modern Family still? It's not still on, is it?
No,
I mean, it seemed
like
to
all
go
TV
for a
shows, it
really
started
long
to get
time.
really just annoying after a while, but they kept doing it because what are you going to do? You know, can't just stop a TV series that's paying a ton of people's incomes on the crew. So they just kept dragging it on, and they had an ending that was fine. But the first couple of seasons were absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I didn't. I just didn't keep watching it. I think, but I watched it a lot. The first, gosh, I want to say 5 or 6 seasons. I'm sure.
My
The-
favorite episode was when Mitch and Cam were at a gas station, and Cam was in his clown outfit, Mr. Fizbo.
Yeah.
And some redneck piece of shit starts fucking with Mitch. And Fizbo the clown comes up behind him, and he's like a foot taller than the guy, just staring him down. And the guy's like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna die." That was my favorite one. I laughed so hard at that.
Yeah, that was. There's some really good episodes. Yeah, I was because I saw it like a rerun on some network not too recently, and it must have been one of the last couple of years of it, and it was you could just tell it was older because it was like, wow, these kids are a lot older than any of the episodes I saw. All the kids are like grown ups.
And the son was just. The older he got, the more you realize, like, wow, what a bad actor. I hope he doesn't end up like the child actors from the 80s where they all OD because they can't do anything else. So, all right. That took a little longer because these two pieces bolt into each other, so you have to line them up to get it right. That took me a moment there. So, all right, now the moment of truth, I guess. Plugging the sucker in and turning it on.
Let's hope we
normal standby flashes, switches to green.
Should come right on.
Nothing's exploding. Nothing's on fire. We should see like no board inserted pop up or something.
Is it on?
It is on. We're getting green. However, nothing's coming up yet.
Sure, everything. Do you feel static on the tube?
Heat's coming off it.
Something's got to be not plugged all the way in, maybe. You got all the...
Both of the connectors on the neck board are properly connected.
Huh.
Yeah, let me maybe the neck board wasn't on all the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
If I touch the back of the neck board, is there any charge in there?
Is it unplugged?
Power is unplugged, yeah.
Yeah, no, you should be okay. I see it just clicked over. But I'm not seeing anything on the screen now.
Nothing on the screen, but I did hear the little beep, so it did initialize, but now we got nothing basically.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, damn it, Steve, I broke it.
Oh, you might want to just wait, let it sit, and then try to come back in like 20 or 30 minutes. Sometimes maybe there's too much liquid on it or something left. I don't know. But
let me just pop the sides open real quick. Unless you're in a rush, if you got to go, then we
no,
can
I've
just
still
call it.
got I've got like 15 minutes. We can keep going.
All right, yeah, that's about what I should have too. Was it one? Yeah. All right, let's just pop the sucker open and see what mistake I made. Maybe I put the wrong screw in the wrong spot or something? Because some of these screws aren't.
Well, that shouldn't matter, but it seems like something's not plugged into the neck board because it's not getting any picture data, but it's turning on like it's normally working. So I don't know if one of those other connections came disconnected from the data port or something, or that back card.
When I look into the back of the tube, aren't I supposed to see something light up?
Most of the time, if you're getting stuff into it, if you're sending a voltage in.
Yeah, like that does not feel like it's the right
No, that
screw.
doesn't feel right. That's one of the back screws.
Oh, my caught on. This was the easy part, damn it. All right, so that one definitely doesn't go there. Everything seems to be plugged in. We didn't need to unplug the connector here because I just slid it around. I didn't touch any of those.
And all those things up top are good, right? Where it like plugs into the points. Look down there in the back.
We're plugged in. I plugged the ground wire here. That's solid.
Hey, Shadow Mask. Enjoying the day off, I hope. Good to see you here. Yeah, it's not conductive, but just not getting any picture data now.
It happens now.
Yeah, you could definitely do that like that. It's fine. But... Now, wait a second, Bob. Did you happen to spin the focus knobs at all when we were looking at that? Because one of them might be the...
I moved it like a hair.
What about
and then
the...
moved it back
Does
like
one
hair.
of them say screen? Look at the one that says screen. Because maybe you turn down the G2 voltage and it's just darkening the screen out. Does the bottom one say screen or the top one? I can't remember.
Bottom
that.
one, I believe.
Okay, so try to turn that up and see if you see any lines in the tube or not.
No,
not
in
seeing
fact, it's kind
nothing.
of glued in place. The focus one is the one that's not.
Oh, weird. Because it would seem like that would be a possibility where it would just too dim on the tube. Yeah. I don't know. That stinks. It's not showing anything. I figured it wouldn't at least get worse. Can you power cycle it from the front? Like from the button? Does it nothing?
All right, something just flashed at least.
What about? Can you the brightness controls? Will that do anything if you turn the brightness on the front?
Nope.
Mm.
But when, if I could, so, see what happens when I hit. Did you see it flash just
Yeah.
now?
See it flash right then, like the power coming on and degaussing.
But wouldn't I be able to see something through the clear back of the neck board while I was hitting power?
You should be seeing some light come through there.
Nothing.
Hmm. Yeah, you'll just have to bring it over and work with Dell on it too sometime if you want to look at it sooner. That's what he said.
You know, Dell, let me know when you're around, man. I'll drive this. I'll drive the red monitor down for you, so you can take a look at that, and maybe we could just.
We could do another
maybe we could
live
just do
stream,
it.
all three of us together from your place. You could host it, Dell.
Yeah. Yeah, the D9H curse is right. That's for sure.
Shit.
Let me just take the neck board fully off again and just look at it. You never know. Oh. Yeah. I think I found the problem, Steve.
What? What
Let me
happened?
just show you a picture so that you could put this in the chat.
Oh gosh, now I'm nervous.
Yeah. I also think I figured out what was wrong with the monitor the whole time.
Now I'm scared. Oh
Yep, here you
goodness
go.
gracious.
Make sure to zoom in on that, and I'll.
Oh shit. Damn, Bob. That sucks. All right.
Well, I didn't do it, so I think that corroded, and that was the problem.
Yeah, that's very possibly. Maybe it's just the tube itself is so corroded air that it.
It would be different if my hand slipped and
You didn't
'cause that's
put
happened
any
before.
pressure on it that I didn't see anything. I'm sorry. I'm going to pull this up in a second, guys. I'm just trying to move it
Yeah,
over
because
here.
I've definitely accidentally whacked a neck board before, and it still worked. But if it had broken, it would have been my fault. But yeah,
The pins are so corroded in there. Check it out. That's why we're not getting anything, because the pin pulled straight out. There's your corrosion buildup right there. Oh man, where my hand gesture is. Oof.
well, so here's
Parts,
the good
baby.
news. We figured out what the problem was.
Ah. Yeah. Now, damn. Just got to find somebody with a D9 that's not got such a bad tube in it.
This tube has 3,500 hours of use on it.
How the hell did it get
Can you
so
believe that?
corroded? God, man.
Maybe it was by the ocean or something stupid like that.
Yeah, I mean, if that pin is corroded, I don't know how you'd go back and because the tube's not vented, so it's literally where it was in the glass molding.
Yeah.
He says
So,
Dell says there's might be a way he can actually get those pins back in there to work since it's not
All right.
vented.
Dell, tell me the time. I'm heading down then.
Yeah, I would love to see that and be like into that because that's crazy. And for all intents and purposes, that could have been another could have been falling off. It's just you just saw everybody what Bob did. He didn't do anything that was really that abrasive or anything. He actually broke stuff today, Snuffer.
You know, anybody that's watched the live streams over on my channel knows that I almost always screw up, and I always admit it and almost always laugh. I actually don't think I screwed anything up this time. I really think that
No.
was, and I have no problem if I did. 0 problems. I will laugh with you. You can laugh at me. I don't really care. That stuff never bothers me. Everybody makes mistakes, but I actually think this one was more of a, hey, we finally figured out what the problem was, not so much, hey, look at dumbass Bob breaking shit.
No, and Dell, when you take it over there, look at all those other pins. Make sure that, hell, who knows, maybe one of the other pins fell out or something there, or that was caused in the original problem or something, and then a second pin popped off. I don't know.
Would not surprise me in the slightest. Would not surprise me at all. So
That's crazy. But it's hey, that is
down to Dell's.
That's guys, that's good. You do get to see, like, this is really what happens sometimes. I mean, like Bob did nothing wrong. Nothing could have really prevented that, except for just not ever touching it. And this thing always had that focus issue from the beginning.
From the day that it arrived to me, it had that focus issue. And it was still usable as a test monitor, but I could never game on it because the focus would just be way, way off. So this is definitely one of those things that, you know, I'm very happy that we figured out what the problem was. I wish this wasn't my monitor.
No kidding.
I wish we were. I wish I was watching a RetroTech live stream going, "Oh, that poor bastard." But yeah. And I am going to put the back on. So let me ask you guys a question. I am definitely not going to do this. All right. Well, here. Let me put up. I hope never happens, but very plausible scenario. What if I put this thing back on with the neck board just kind of sitting here? So let me see if I could turn this towards you to see.
Yeah. I mean, you could still knock the other pins off, I guess, but as long as you're not shaking it around. So do you see how the
neck board is just sitting right here, right? And is not connected to anything.
Yeah.
So let's say I put this back together with the intent of driving to Dell's tomorrow, right? And then I get hit by a meteor and die. And somebody comes over and says, oh, look at all these monitors. Let me see if they work. And plugs it in and turns it on with the neck board like that.
I don't think anything happens when you do it like that.
It's not going to just shoot voltage all through the inside of the casing?
No, it's just like disconnected. I think if it would definitely, happen if you had like the anode. I've always worried about leaving like the anode cap flipping around on something and then somebody clicking it on. But I don't think the 50-50 chance, Dell says. Well, Dell, come on, man, let's do it. Let's team effort this. I'll check out that video later, though. I definitely want to see that. Thanks for sharing that. I'm going to pull that up actually right now and save it so I don't. Oh, yeah, look. Oh, it's Mike. Yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. Mike's amateur arcade monitor repair on that channel.
Yeah, Mike fixed my the chassis in the Sammy Video World, and he just sent me a new frame for it. So that might actually be Wednesday's project. Is my buddy Lance from Retro World might actually come over if he has time this week or next week and mount this new CRT. And the only problem is, I think that since I think this frame is going to be perfect, except it might not be able to work in 16:9 mode. So, or 16:9. What an ass. I'm sorry. In Tate mode. It's vertically oriented. So if that's the case, I'm definitely going to sell the Sammy Video World. And if anybody wants it, it is nice. Not to like obviously hype the thing I'm probably going to sell, but it's all new buttons. It's Neo Geo style. I figured I could throw an MV1C into it with a real game, and so people, if they wanted a sit-down Neo Geo cab, this would be perfect. And the one cool thing about this is, even though it's going to fit a 24-inch monitor, it is just small enough to be able to get through an average house door. So unlike the Astro Cities that you have to take apart to get through a door, this will just barely fit, but it'll fit.
Awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people got to be looking for that. Somebody's got to hit you up for something like that. Those aren't, people go to crazy lengths to get those, and they're not going to be in this kind of shape to begin with.
Yeah, to find a Sammy Video World that has been completely rewired and fixed by Cruz with a chassis that was done by Mike, And yeah, a brand new monitor that my friend, that was the one that we did that live stream on where you were like, oh, I think that's an arcade monitor, the
Yeah.
RCA TV. That was in a presentation room for years and basically never turned on. So whoever gets this is essentially getting a brand new Sammy Video World. So yeah, this is definitely going to be. Oh, and I even put the Candy Cab coin button, the metal edition, on it. So that's, if you wanted to get that printed, it's like $100 alone just to get that done. So now it's coin 1, coin 2, and the menu or test mode button for if you're using original hardware are all wired right on top, and it looks just like the coin button. It's kind of.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that I'm gonna probably have to sell this one, but you know, it is what it is. I just wanted to go. Here's how selfish I could be sometimes. I want this to go to a good home. Now, any normal person that has to sell something would go, I just want to get what I paid for or make a little bit of money off of all the time I spent. And I'm more concerned about, like, who's buying this? Is it some douche that's just going to throw it up on eBay in 2 days and be like, here's Retro RGB's old arcade machine, $3,000. And, you know, I don't want that at all. So hopefully that will go to a very good home.
Right. Yeah.
That's happened to me a bunch of times before.
I'm sure it has.
Like, people have basically been like, oh, I'm so desperate for an RGB monitor. I've looked everywhere. Can you help me out? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Here, take one of my spares. Just give me what I paid. I'd love to help you out. And a month later, I'll go searching for something else on eBay, and my old monitor will pop up. And it's the same guy's screen name, and it's at a 0 to what I sold it to him for.
Well, unfortunately, that's what happens. Yes, these particular ones are not for sale, but Bob does have a Comet. If you look at Bob Scott, let's go for it. He's got a brand new VGA monitor that has just 2 hours on it that was featured in that episode, right where is that the one where you used...
It's just RGB on VGA monitors.
Okay,
was the episode.
That's the one.
But I also have 2 BVMs or 3 BVMs for sale.
Oh,
if you want the D32, you're going to have to spend exactly what everybody else is spending on it, which is a ton of money. So I can't imagine most people would want to shell out. I'll probably be buried with that thing because I'm not selling it for less than value, and I'm not listing it on eBay because I can't stand eBay scams. But yeah, that one's going to be very expensive. But I get that. I got a couple of consumer TVs that are absolutely awesome, an HD CRT, a recapped JVC D-Series 32-inch, and I got at least one 8-inch monitor I could probably part with as well. So if anybody is interested, and one VGA monitor that's really nice, it just has a yellowed shell, but otherwise is in great condition. So if anybody's serious, no discounts anymore. I've got nothing but burned on discounts, just market price. Just like everybody else. The only difference is you're not getting scammed, which, not to toot my own horn here, but guess what? Like, not a scammer.
So yeah, let's be honest here. I don't feel like this is a bad thing to say anyway. Let's we want to be fair for Bob, and like, if anybody who's in my network who's watching right now and has interest in getting any CRTs and wants to just connect with Bob, send me a DM through Patreon or Discord, and I know that those kind of people will be pretty much vetted right away. But if you don't, these are, like, we're talking about BVMs here, and also just being able to get a fair deal. Again, if you're looking for a that arcade machine is incredible nowadays. Those things are extremely hard to get, and you never know what you're getting. Hey, Master Safer.
I can show that one real quick because that's literally right here. So let me try and. So,
see, nice tube on the floor.
Perfect.
Oh, that's what you're working on.
That's the Sammy Video World. The tube that it came with is on the floor with the chassis. It doesn't fit right. Anybody saw that Mr. video I did where it was build a dedicated Mr.? You could see that on the inside here, you could see there was so much space around the tube. So that other one, that RCA tube, is the one I was just talking about that's essentially brand new. And the chassis that is in the arcade machine now is the one that Mike redid. And then these were all the, that's the brand new buttons. And that's that Candy Cab coin button, that metal thing that looks like a coin slot. but it actually has the 3 buttons in it to bring up the menu and coin 1 and coin 2. But yeah, it's in really great condition. Obviously, it's, you know, you're going to get scuffs on it, but it's a metal frame. If you really wanted to repaint it, you can. But I preferred to leave it original, have the Sammy Video World logo on there, the
That's
Sammy
cool.
on the side. Totally up to you if you want it, but that should be done next week at the latest, I hope. But yeah, that one's going to be a great one, especially if you like Neo Geo, because you could just, I'll sell it with the MV1C, and you could just take it home and start playing. There's nothing to do at all, no configuration, just that's it. So
Yeah, that is like, you see, the thing is that's just so much, like Bob said, thinner. You could slip that through. I could see what he's saying, where you have to take the others apart.
the cab is going to be, I think Sammy Video Worlds in good condition go for at least $1,500. I know Astro City's in good condition. This one's already sold, by the way, but that's going to a friend that I trust very much. So I sold it for a lot less than what they're going for, but those are going for $3,500 now. And that's also rebuilt chassis, handicap coin button, all new buttons, just completely restored from an electrical point of view. It was the one Yatan scammed me on. You could always tell it's Yatan because he puts the Astro City sticker on backwards.
Yeah.
Left one is supposed to go on the right and vice versa. But those go for $3,500 in this condition, not not in the condition I got it for. So I think the Sammys, I don't know why they're not as popular. Probably because they're just a tiny bit smaller, so it's harder to fit 2 people next to it. But I think that would go for at least $1,500.
Yeah, I think it should go for at least $1,500.
Not only can you, that's what was in there for the whole time. If you watch that, let me just get that video that shows it. Retro RP, Mr.
Make sure that
Is it dedicated? Yeah, here we go. I'll drop this in the chat, and if that
I
doesn't
think
work,
that I was going to say, send it to me. I don't know that I have ever put you on a moderator because I have to do that through my phone. So if you
Del, my dream was to have 2 matching Astro Cities, maybe one new Astro City and one Astro City or something like that. And then that way I could have one Tate and one regular and just have them sitting next to each other. And when I got the Sammy Video World, I was like, okay, well, that's actually pretty cool. I could accomplish the same thing, except the Astro City doesn't have the correct frame in it, so I can't Tate that one. And the person who's getting it just wants it regular, so that didn't matter. In the Sammy Video World, I was like, okay, I'll make it Tate, but then when I got this frame, you can't, because the, let me see if I could show you. So that would go around here,
okay,
strengthen it, and then the ones that go on the top and bottom that it bolts to. So these top ones would be where you bolt the CRT to, here. And then the frame that I just showed bolts on top of these, and that just kind of strengthens it. But if I line this up with the pre-existing holes that are in here, if they line up perfectly, you probably can't see that on camera. I'd have to get a flashlight and everything and screw it down. But I'm looking right now, and these holes line up within like a millimeter, to the point where I could just use a file to get it to work. So it's definitely going to be usable that way. But this way, it does not. It will not line up in that other way. Unless I'm doing it backwards, unless these are the holes. No.
Yeah.
So I think the frame is exactly what I needed. I just think it's only going to be horizontal. So that's why, welcome to an amazing Neo Geo cab. You could if you wanted to. The other thing I was considering, like if it doesn't sell, if no one offers me what it's worth, I'm not taking a loss. I'd rather just keep it. So what you actually could do is remove just this panel, this like colored panel here, and have a custom one made that's just one single 6-button controller.
Right.
You could even just reuse these buttons because they're all brand new. And you could essentially turn this into a single 6-button machine And since you're getting a custom thing, you could probably even add a space for a spinner, a space for a trackball, and a couple of USB ports. And if you were going to use it with Mister, then you would essentially be able to build yourself a pretty awesome single-player Mister.
Right.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So definitely, if you're looking for something like that, I think that's a great deal. I think it's a fair value. You know, anything around that for working, all that work's been put into it. You definitely shouldn't take any kind of a loss, even in today's economy, for that thing, because it's not easy to find any of this kind of. These are extremely difficult, just like a good PVM or
difficult to
BVM.
find working.
Yeah.
It's really easy to find these things, and it's also really easy to find people that tell you they're working and in good condition.
Yeah. No.
But it's not easy to find ones that you will actually could just like you get it delivered to your house and it works and that's it, and there's no other discussion. You just plug in your like for this one right here. If you plugged in a Neo Geo board or bought it with it, that's it. You're done. You get it home, you turn it on, you start playing. Whereas all of the rest, and Dell will vouch for this one. He's got more arcade machines than Steve and I will ever have.
Yeah.
I'm sure he vouches for that exact same thing. Or most of the time, you just get it, and it's like, okay, well, now that I got it home, let me do these 50 things before I could even power it on. So.
Right, and this is, I mean, you've had some of the best, you know, people available look at this thing. This is just, you know, you don't even. People should have incredible peace of mind knowing that, but there's always risk with anything, just you never know. But this has got all kinds of goodies, and that new I'm sure that new tube, you have to send me some pictures of that, but that looks sweet when you get it done and installed, and I can forward those on.
Cool. Well, Steve, thank you for the stream. We absolutely fixed nothing.
We spent, it was an educational one, 2.5 hours of educational learning. All right, Bob, I'll hang up the call with you and I'll close the show off here in a second. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Thank you. And so hang on, I'll do an exit to the show. But thanks, Bob, and we'll talk soon. Man. All right.
I will talk to you all soon. And if anybody's interested in that stuff, hit me up on Discord. I got to go run an errand, but I'll be back in front of my computer in a little bit. So see you guys later.
Send a message on Discord. We can disconnect from Bob. Thanks, Bob, for coming in and joining us in this awesome special edition of The Bunker today. And it was 2.5 hours. So if you came in late, you can go back to the beginning. We worked through a PVM 14L5, and we worked through a Samsung CRT, and then this last BVM, and all we did was break stuff. So maybe Thursday we could fix something. I want to give a special shout out to everybody for staying through the chat today. A lot of you guys were here the whole time. That's awesome. Thanks to Delusional, Dell's Arcade, for helping out in the chat with some good old fashioned technical advice, and everybody else who's been in here and having a good time. We always seem to have a great crowd. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll see you guys Thursday. I'll be back Thursday at about 11 Eastern time with another episode of The Bunker number 5. I'm not sure what I'll be working on, but I'll have something new for you. Maybe a special guest. Who knows? All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you again. Hope your Monday goes awesome, and I'll see you Thursday in another episode of The Bunker.